So for our main topic, we are talking about how gaming has changed for us over the years. And just to as a precursor, we are going to mostly put this in board games, but I did put a little bit in here about video games as well, because I feel like it's going to be necessary. It's going to be something good to talk about, because sometimes when people get involved with board games, stuff happens to the video game side of them, and it would be interesting to see what we see. So, George, let's start with you. The first thing we have here is, let's just talk about in general what you used to game early on, and then how you game now.
Well, interestingly, it's not much different, because early on and now I would still go and play all day if I could, play all night if I could. You know, I like long gaming sessions where you play lots of different games. I'm not fond of just, show up, play a game, you're done, go home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that actually didn't change very much for me as far as the game. The games themselves have changed just because we're playing a lot of the new stuff every year. But in terms of how I play, I like to get together with a group of friends and just, spend a lot of time together talking, playing games, and hanging out.
I will agree with you on the long gaming sessions, because in the beginning I played a lot of RPGs, and then I played a lot of miniature combat games, and then I played a lot of collectible card games, and those you just sit there and just churn out game after game after game,
right?
Because you're usually playing competitively. So every time we would game, it was literally like Saturday, like all day Saturday long, especially when you're playing RPGs, because a 3-hour RPG session is boring.
Yeah, it's not enough.
You need like 8.
Yeah.
You need at least 6, I think. That's a really good medium.
There's a couple meals involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about you, Eric?
It's probably pretty same in how we game. I would consider myself like maybe like omni gamer, or hopefully that term is correct. I like a little bit of all types of games. There's not just one type of game that I go to. So that's pretty much been the same. I will say over time, I'm not sure if we're talking about that yet. I have
not specifics. We're just talking about, let's just talk about like how much you like to game.
No,
I don't know.
It's like you guys, we get together and we try to game as long as possible. So
that's fair enough. So yeah, let's get into the next thing then. So games you used to like, but have moved on from. And this, we're really speaking of designer games. We're not talking Monopoly and Scrabbles and stuff you played as a kid, or Mousetrap. Stuff that you played early on in your designer gaming. I guess this is going to be a pretty obvious question, because it's going to be like gateway games, and then I got deeper games.
Yeah, kind of. I'll say, at least for me, I have at least in that I still like to play all types of games. Of course, in a bigger setting, multiple people, 3, 4, 5 player games. I like to play any type of game, and even light games. But in a 2-person setting, I have noticed we tend to like heavier games and kind of shy away from the more lighter fare. Yeah,
but I wonder if that is more of a time constraint, since we play on Fridays. Like, if you had no time constraint, especially, you see that on Saturdays, like when we have the all day, gamings and stuff, you tend to play
bigger, deeper games.
Yeah. Because you can get a lot of them going. I feel like when we play on our every Friday nights, it's like, let's play as many games as possible.
Yeah.
The hour and a half is a very good length of game at that point.
It is.
But I don't think that we're trying to stay away from 4-hour games and 6-hour games. It's just really hard to, I don't know, like maybe like a fulfillment. You start on Friday and you play Twilight Imperium, and then you leave, and then that's the only game you played. Do you feel as satisfied at that point? You know what I mean? Whereas if you had all day Saturday and you played Twilight and Rising Sun and Blood Rage and
got a few bigger games in instead of one big game. I don't know.
Yeah, I think variety definitely.
I guess we
counts
completely ditched the original question, which is games we've moved on from, like specific games. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Like for instance, a lot of people will take Catan. They'll play Catan. It's the best game they've ever played. And then they find out about the board gaming world. They get really involved in the board gaming world, become elitists, and then take a crap on Catan like you didn't do anything to bring them into the environment. That sounded bitter, but
a little bit. I would say
a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. There is games that you play and then, well, for either it's maybe it got too light for you, or maybe you outplayed it and you've seen, all the things that this can offer you, gameplay wise. So there's going to be games that maybe you've outplayed, or, something about it you don't end up enjoying anymore. And I think that's just regular what should happen to most players.
But can you think of any examples for yourself?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I've kept around a lot of lighter games, games that you would play with maybe new players. I used to keep those just in case, new players came about. But storage constraints had me purge a lot of these games. I don't carry a Pandemic or King of Tokyo. Got rid of my Ticket to Ride. So a lot of those entry-level games I've actually got rid of.
Yeah.
But I guess like you got rid of them, but would you be opposed to playing them again?
I wouldn't, and I've noticed this just being on my shelf. They've been there for 3 or 4 years. I'm not going to choose those games over these other games I haven't played, or these other games I really like. So that's another reason I've chosen to move them along.
I made a long list.
He's got
it's like a list of 50
He's
games.
got a list.
I won't mention all of them, but some of the ones that I'm pretty done with. Formula D. I don't need to really play that one anymore.
That's a good one. I will say that too. I bought that on the the reputation it had on Board Game Geek, and like people always talking about it. I think it's subpar. I think it's meh.
I won't say it's subpar, but it's
first off, there's no missiles.
Better ones.
That's true.
There's better games that are racing games out there.
Mm-hmm.
That one I just don't need to revisit. I've played it enough. But it's not a bad game. I certainly as a sort of a gateway kind of game, it's nice.
Yeah, I guess I was just slightly disappointed with it.
And it's a longer game as well. So.
Yeah. Like there's this game by AEG they made. It's called Russian Crush. And I love that game.
Really?
It's like F-Zero with missiles and machine guns and stuff. But it has a very similar feel to Formula D, except for it's not using dice to move. It's using like a movement, like a gear shift system. And you have how many spaces you can move. So it's it's like very much the same. You only go around 2 laps, but most of the time it's survival of the fittest. So whoever lives longest, unless you're just going for speed and trying to pass up everybody to get to that.
Yeah.
It's a really good game. The components are meh because it's very small. It's really weird. But I really, really like that game. And that's the reason I bought Formula D, because I heard it was very similar. And this is so many years ago. But I really like the idea of the racetrack and all the different rectangled spaces that you're moving on and how it operated.
Right.
And both of them kind of work very similar. But then I played Formula D and I was like, and I played it again and I was like, and then I played it and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. So that's one for me. Mine was replaced by Race Formula 90, which is a heavier Euro card-driven, very strategic racing game, very deep. So that one, there's no real comparison there. It's not sort of as light, but I can't go back to Formula D after that. Another one is Seven Wonders. I know a lot of people will object to that one being out, but
I have so much for Seven Wonders. I'm keeping it around for right now, but probably in the same boat.
I'm really tired of it, and as far as just straight drafting games, they don't really keep my interest anymore. So we just played one that I have no desire to return to, and I just realized it recently because we just played it. El Grande.
Oh, so good.
I know another one that a lot of people really love, and area control with lots of sort of random going on, and
it's not random.
Those
on purpose.
I do think that
those cards, and anyway,
I do think that area control games have evolved really well since that.
Yeah,
and I kind of like the other ones better.
Yeah, it's just the art and the theme and it's dry and it's just, kick some cubes around for a long time. And then the game's finally over. So that's that one. Dominion is one. I don't need Dominion anymore.
I was thinking Dominion as well. I've moved on from it because there's so many deck builders out there, but at the same time, there's so much of Dominion I have not played with that's gotten really good reviews. I'm like, I wouldn't mind trying it out.
Yeah,
right.
okay, yeah, but you kind of know how it's going to go.
Yeah,
really.
Just shuffling cards.
Standard deck builder, yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Dead of Winter is one that I've enjoyed less and less the more I've played. I am excited to play Dead of Winter with both
the warring colonies.
Sets. Yeah,
that's happening. Happening. I've got it all. It's happening.
That could bring it back for me. That could totally bring it back. But that one I've sort of played out.
Yeah.
I played it too much. Oh, here's a big one. Zombicide.
Oh, really?
No, I don't need to play Zombicide again.
Which one?
Any of them.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, I don't know, Dice Fest. Not interested.
Yeah.
And here's one. It kind of surprised me, but Alhambra. I really used to like this one, and I've played it recently, and actually had a pretty good time with it. But I think I'm probably gonna put past this one on as well. It's an older game. It's the systems that it has. I think other games do just as well, and I don't know.
Like going off of that, that's what's really weird, right? A lot of these games we move on because, just like in video game design, things get better, right? That's the whole point. People are building off of other people's innovations. They're taking the same style of game, combining it with other styles of games and making it better and cooler and just fresh.
Yeah, and it's just, I've got the big box version and it takes up a lot of space.
Oh, it does.
So. But for me, like, I feel like Catan, a lot of people say they move on from it because it's a gateway game and such, but I don't see anything that replaces it. Like there's not. No, I'm just saying like the style of game it is.
Right.
It's really enjoyable for me to return to. Now I don't like try to go out and play it like some people, but man, it is very unique and it has a lasting power to it.
Yeah, no, that one is definitely a good one.
Like Dominion, I mean, has been redone 1.5 billion times in way cooler. It was a pioneer, but at the same time, it's at this point, I feel like it's overstayed its welcome. You know,
I'll agree with you. I mean, we can come back to me.
He's got games upon games. Mine's a little bit different. Like some of the games I used to play, and I guess this isn't really designer games, even though they kind of are. But like, you take Zombies, like the little miniature game Zombies, or you take like Munchkin, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's one.
Like I guess like that was a little bit different time frame though than what I was originally basing this question off of. But that's the kind of games we were playing. But we were mostly playing like War Machine and Warhammer and other miniature games like Malifaux and stuff. And when we play a board game, we would go to one of those.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, like those are. I had a lot of fun, but when I really got deeper into the designer stuff, I've kind of moved on from that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's so many designer games or other games that are way better than that. But again, I mean, I feel like Catan is the only one that kind of lasted very well. I mean, it stayed around.
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now of any Steve Jackson game that I've kept around and I really want to play.
Ogre?
No. No.
Zombie Dice.
Zombie Dice. That's
there
all right.
You go. Zombie Dice is another one, man. Right. Zombie Dice is fun.
It's so simple.
If you hate Zombie Dice, you hate gaming.
I do not hate Zombie Dice. I do dislike Cthulhu Dice, though.
That is a garbage game. It is garbage.
Yeah,
it is basically LCR.
Yeah.
That was it. Wow.
You like roll the die and whatever happens, and then whoever gets the little gems wins. I don't know. It was so disappointing.
Zombie Dice?
No, Zombie Dice has a pressure luck aspect.
Oh, it does.
Like with Zombie Dice, you roll the dice, you get the brains. You're like, oh, I've only been shot once. I'm going to keep going. Oh, I got killed. That kind of idea. It's like a very light push your luck game. The Cthulhu Dice is like, all right, your turn to roll the 12-sided dice. What happens? Pass things to the left. All right, George, your roll. Take one from the center. It is literally LCR.
It's pretty bad. The Martian Dice and Zombie Dice are both good.
I haven't played Martian Dice, but it looks awesome. It's the one where you have to roll pick up the cows and stuff.
Yeah. It's actually, that's a good one. And Trophy Buck is another dice game. I made it. Yeah,
I have really been wanting to pick that up. Yeah.
You should. It's quite simple. I made up a whole bunch of other rules for it, so
I'll
share it with you. Yeah. But yeah, some of those are classics. But then other than that, maybe Illuminati, just because I can cheat at it. Other than that, I can't think of a whole lot of Steve Jackson ones that I really care for.
Is Revolution Steve Jackson?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good one.
Looney Labs. I don't need to play any Looney Labs games.
None of them.
All those little like triangle, plastic triangle kind of games, and all the Flux games. Sorry, guys.
No, I will agree. Flux is one that I highly regarded when I first started playing it, and now it's kind of like.
Yeah. Gloom.
What about Carcassonne?
Don't need to play Gloom. Carcassonne. Yeah. No, I'm still playing that one. There's still.
Yeah, I think that hangs around.
Yeah.
And Ticket to Ride. I really like Ticket to Ride.
I really like Ticket to Ride when you play in teams with the.
Dun, dun, dun.
See, I should have kept it around.
No.
On the India, the India map.
Oh yeah. Was it India? I thought it was like China or something.
We played it and we hated it.
It's double-sided.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a double-sided map. It was the team variant of it.
It's tremendous.
Because it
thought it was all right.
It was
these guys. They didn't like it.
It like restricts your ability to communicate for arbitrary reasons.
It wasn't so. It didn't let you know exactly what communication you can have during the game. So I guess you could kind of.
I guess that's a different conversation, but. Well, let's move on to something else. What about themes? Have you grown tired of any specific themes, or have you gotten into themes you didn't think you would have gotten into originally?
Oh yeah, both.
What's that?
Zombies. I'm done.
Zombies?
No more zombies.
I like zombies still.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of zombies anymore.
No.
I love fantasy. I know a lot of people are like, meh, on fantasy anymore. I don't care. You can theme anything fantasy. Wingspan, dragon span.
Right.
Dragon eggs. You get dragon eggs. You hatch dragon eggs.
Okay. I won't go that far. Fantasy is not a big one for me in terms of like certain kinds of like D&D kind of fantasy. I'm not a big fan. But if you had zombies as part of like something more interesting than zombies, like Universal Monsters, and zombies. Or the what is it with the Studying Emerald, and there happen to be zombies in that game, right? But there's a whole other game.
There is zombies in that game.
Like the focus isn't post-apocalyptic zombie.
That's what I said.
Take over.
Okay.
No, if the focus is not just a horde of zombies coming,
like there's a lich and he's sending skeletons and zombies.
Right. Yeah. There's a whole undead variety pack, not just zombies.
Variety pack.
Yeah. But if it's just zombies, I don't care.
Fair enough. What about you, Eric? What themes?
Oh, I would say the only theme that I don't really like is noir type of Dick Tracy or.
It's like detective.
Except detective. That kind of it kind of transcends.
He's like, let's walk that back.
That's one of my favorites.
Right. So it still worked in detective, but overall, I usually don't like games that are more noir.
That's ironic because I can't think of any other games that are like the noir setting. Is there a lot of them?
Not that
I actually think there should be more.
No, there's a bunch of detective kind of games.
No, like the 1940s Dick Tracy theme.
Yeah, there's detective. There's pulp stories. There's like I forget the exact name of those games, but there's the detective one where you play cards and you have to match up symbols. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay, they're not memorable in terms of their titles.
Bootleggers. That's kind of noirish.
That's gangster.
Yeah, so I was like,
that's 20s, but okay.
Not police themed at all, but that's cool.
Noir doesn't
20 years
necessarily
later.
have to be police themed.
Well, I guess, yeah. I was just thinking that. Yeah. When you think noir, you think like mystery and solving a mystery type of thing. You're not solving making beer. But I don't know. I think zombies is the biggest example. But I will say that one surprise for me is I've really gotten accustomed to playing very bland Euro games that take place in random European countryside and like farm place. Like
you've gotten used to it to the point that you like it, or you've gotten used to it like, you're done with it.
No, that I actually like it.
Okay.
For instance,
Give me bland.
If I took a game that was a pure Euro and then themed it fantasy, I almost think it would dilute the gameplay for me, ironically, because I like fantasy so much. But it's like
Terra Mystica.
Good game.
Okay, well that's a good example that's done well. But like what I'm talking about,
or Small World.
Well,
I'm also done with Small World.
Yeah, I'm too. I got rid of my copy.
Yeah.
Actually, going back on getting rid of stuff, I've actually got rid of like almost 800 games. So.
Oh wow.
I've got rid of a lot of stuff.
I don't think I've gotten rid of that many. I just keep buying more.
Yeah.
I wonder how many I have here. Well, it's taking the time. We're in a different spot in my basement, and the wireless is not good right now because I have not hooked up my access point. All right, well,
I agree with what you're saying. Like, just slapping a fantasy theme on something doesn't make it good.
Or not even just fantasy. I just mean if you take
like Ethnos or something like that.
Oh, Ethnos is good.
Well, Ethnos is, but
it is good.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't think this through. I don't.
Yeah, Ethnos is good.
I'm trying to think of a like take Puerto Rico. Like Puerto Rico, I guess the idea is the trading in the Mediterranean that Tom Vassell always calls it.
Right.
It's not a bad theme. I like it. I mean, there's a lot of it.
Sure.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, even if you themed it, I don't know. Maybe I'm defending the brown artworks of the world.
No, I kind of agree with you. Like if Puerto Rico, I mean, that's another one I don't really keep. That's not on that. That one's also gone. But if I did like it a whole lot, and it was goblins and dwarves and orcs,
oh my,
it'd be gone faster.
Faster, right?
I wouldn't even gotten it in the first place.
Well, let's talk about the main reason I kind of thought about this is mechanisms and types of games, because I feel, maybe I'm just have a hunch, that this is probably the most dramatic change throughout our gaming history, if I had to guess.
Well, okay, sorry, but before we move on from theme,
sure.
I think in making sort of this list and just thinking about this, I think I realized the theme is the most important thing for me. In terms of
okay, cool. That makes sense.
What games I will enjoy and what ones I won't.
But have you always been that deep into the theme, like when you first started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that important.
Or theme has always been important,
but it's always been important. What I'm saying is the mechanisms. Have you found yourself changing from what you like in the very beginning to now? Has that changed? I mean, theme has been all the same.
I think I've gotten more open-minded. And I think the reason for that is because the themes have lent themselves or been applied to more mechanisms. So I've been exposed to more mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
So I don't think if that hadn't happened, I probably would continue to avoid certain kinds of games.
Okay.
Like Brass Lancashire or something.
So good.
I'll never know. I won't play it.
Oh, why not? We gotta play it.
Oh, you gotta play it.
No, the theme just...
It's good.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as Eric, like enough to buy it or want to play it a bunch, but I really enjoyed the playthrough that we did. Well, okay, so for instance, the reason I brought this one up, mechanisms, right? For me, I played so many co-op games back in the day because we played role-playing games, and so playing co-ops was like the next step.
Right.
Like especially the D&D adventure games and stuff like that. Like, Shards of a Charlatan or whatever, Wrath of a Charlatan and Legend of Drizzt.
Yeah, those are all terrible games.
Well, I don't know if they're terrible, but
they're pretty bad.
But I will say that I found myself kind of like, if somebody brings out a game and says it's co-op, I'm like, I just went down into sadness. Which is ironic because, we played a couple of co-op games recently I really like. And it's not that I don't like them anymore. It's just that I prefer not to gravitate towards them as much. And it's not even really about being competitive, because I don't even really like being competitive. I kind of classify like competitiveness as in one-on-one anymore.
Oh,
I just like the idea of multiple players messing with each other, especially if it's indirectly.
Okay. Yeah.
That's something I've really, really honed in on, which I guess is why I tend to like Euro games a lot.
Or it's more indirect confrontations.
Yeah, you
direct.
just took my spot. And you're like, ha. Like, I like that stuff. Like, I wasn't setting out to mess with you, but it also was just happened to be there.
Right.
Like, I really like that stuff. I don't like the, I'm going to play a card. Who should I stab in the face? George. Because you're just close to me. It's easy to hand you the card.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Eric would be. But the point is,
George.
George. Co-op games have kind of went on a decline for me as far as like want to play, not as far as my enjoyment.
Okay, but you said they've started to come back. Part of that is probably because
you never said that.
I didn't say they started to come back.
Oh no.
Okay. He's enjoyed a few that he's played recently.
Although ironically, I spent the most money I've ever spent on a board game on a co-op
game.
Kingdom Death Monster.
That's true.
But I think it's a little bit different. Like I guess what I will define this as. Co-op games that have a very deep campaign mode, very attractive. Co-op games like Ghost Stories, where it's like a single playthrough, meh.
Oh, I love that one.
Oh, no, I like Ghost Stories. I'm just saying anymore, I'm not trying to find those games.
I have no interest in Bastion or whatever. Last Bastion.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, the theme, that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Eric?
So for me, as far as co-op, real quick, I started not liking co-op games initially, and I kind of grew to like them a lot. And then it went down for me, but it also depends on the type of co-op game for me. In those games like Pandemic, where it's groupthink, and you're like, okay, we kind of figured out what you're going to do in your turn. Your best move is to do this.
Oh, like the puzzle co-ops.
Right. I don't prefer those anymore. I do still like co-op games where you're playing your own without too much outside influence, but you're still playing it as a team and helping each other out.
No, I agree with that. I guess that's why I liked stuff like Too Many Bones, which we talked earlier on the episode. The cool thing about that is you can't really dictate to me what to do.
My character is so different from your character. I'm not going to be like, oh,
first off, you probably don't even know how he plays.
Right. Of course, first time through.
But at the same time, you're like, can you go kill that thing? Yeah, I think. Let me go try to roll. Like when I was attacking the final boss, I was so tired. I was like, please just let me roll all twos. And I just rolled the dice and I got like 7 hits and killed him. I was like, thank you. It's 4 a.m. But I mean, there's nothing you could do to really like quarterback it like you can Pandemic. You might as well just play it solo.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue with a lot of co-ops.
And I guess that's why I was bringing up Ghost Stories, is because
it's that kind of game.
That kind of co-op is dropped off. Games like Kingdom Death Monster or Too Many Bones or stuff where you get to build a character and get your own, like, or Gloomhaven. I know for absolute fact I'd love that game. I've never played it, but I know I would like it just because the type of co-op it is. Those I really like.
Yeah, that would be interesting to compare to Too Many Bones.
Gloomhaven?
Yeah.
I really think Gloomhaven is the modern day Hero Quest. I really think
that makes sense. Yeah,
that's more of like the style of co-op game I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But what about you? What about mechanisms and stuff?
I've always loved co-op games, but I understand what you're saying. They've dropped off for me as well because of that certain style of co-op game where it just seems a bit too pat, a bit too, this is what the game does, and you're just going through this deck and you get these things and that's it. Like, I enjoy Horrified, but it's a pick up and deliver for one thing, and for another, it just doesn't do it for me. Like, as far as other co-ops, I'm more interested in co-ops where you have to.
Oh wait, have you played out Horrified then?
I guess so already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the kind of co-op that I'm really gravitating towards now. Now I like very puzzly co-ops, that are fun, like Rail Pass.
That is awesome.
That one's pretty.
That is a really fun co-op.
Or
that's a definitely different style of co-op too.
Yes, yeah. Or really challenging co-ops like Detective.
What about Mental Blocks? Did you like that?
No, not really. No.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
It's meh.
It's cool. It's a cool activity.
It's more of an activity, and it's.
I will say that would be really good in schools.
It's either too challenging or it's too solvable. Either way, it's it's kind of like go take it or leave it.
middle school team building exercise right there. That's it's a good. It has its spots, but yeah, that kind of co-op is meh.
Yeah, I just received the Root expansion, Clockwork enemies or whatever it is, and it has a bunch of AI that you can play against, so it becomes a co-op for Root.
Yeah,
and the idea is that you're trying to get your 30 points or whatever it is before the AI does. Everyone who's playing against the AI has to get it before any of the AI do. So that'll make it really interesting. I don't know if that'll save the game for me because I was getting a little tired of that one. It's strange to say since I just got these expansions, but I think it will improve it. And the idea that you have to work together even though you're fighting each other, that may not work for me.
Weird,
thematically, that may not work, and I may have to figure out some way of, okay, I'm not actually killing you and then like taking over your
changing the
clearing.
theme.
I'm sending you off to wherever because
the Valhalla.
You get no, like
you're welcome.
Like Mouse Guard or something. You get sent off to the patrol. So you go to the border. So that's why I got rid of your people because I was promoting them. Something friendly rather than I'm killing you now so that I can get some points. So will you let me kill you so I can get some? Okay, thanks. That doesn't work.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm hoping there's a way to make this work out, and it should be interesting to see. But I do generally like good thinky co-ops a lot.
Well, let's talk about another mechanism, deck building.
Yeah,
I don't mind deck building. So
I love
still
deck
like
building.
Every time I hear this game's a deck builder, I'm like, why? But I mean, realistically, I play it and I have fun usually, so it's not that big of a deal.
Or you're doing Ascension right now, like 7 games at a time.
It's a little different. That's on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one too because there's so many deck builders out there, and most of them I'm bored with because I've seen it before.
Right.
But if it has something new, then I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it is like just a very. It's a mechanism that keeps coming back to your face. It's like, hey, you want to play a deck builder? Hey, you want to play a deck builder?
Yeah.
This is the same as the last one, but it has this one small change.
Yeah. So I have a certain number of favorite deck builders because they were the first ones to introduce something new to me.
Yeah.
And then the others.
Like Dale of Merchants.
Dale of Merchants
there you go.
is amazing because it has that ladder system where you play out your cards, and so you're getting them out of your deck at the same time that you want to have them for their abilities.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It has so many different characters, and that could be game of the year for me. I'm going back and forth. But I love that one. And there are other much older ones that I really love.
Star Realms is
no.
Star Realms, I could never play it again and be okay.
Yeah, me too. No.
I didn't hate it.
Shards of Infinity.
Shards of Infinity is awesome.
I don't know that one. You have to introduce me to that.
Yeah.
It's like the successor to Ascension.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Clank.
Clank, I like Clank because of the map.
Well, right, because it's a deck builder, but it has this massive mechanism going on.
Yeah.
You know what? I play Clank. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it is very good.
I would like to play Clank.
Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yes, yeah, I've heard so many good things about that. But no, the first one that had a deck building mechanism that added a whole lot to it for me was Fantastica.
Oh, I didn't like this one.
I threw up in my mouth a little
bit. We had the I had the rucksack edition. I'm not sure.
Oh no, you didn't have everything then.
No, I don't know that I needed more though. Unfortunately,
I don't even remember it being a deck builder, but I guess it is.
It's absolutely a deck builder.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I really like it. So anyway, and then Shadow Rift is another. Because it had the extra decks that have the monsters do things and the villagers you have to protect.
Yeah.
And have walls and, different things.
What about dexterity games?
Oh, I love dexterity games.
I mean, have you always liked them, or is this something that's just grown up? Because for me, like dexterity games, I don't know if it's just because I didn't play any back 10 years ago or whatever, but man, dexterity games have become one of my favorite things.
Really? We don't play very often.
Well, we should play it a lot more.
We should.
Flicking things around on a board. Oh,
I didn't know that. I have so many of these.
Yeah, like flicking games are probably one of my favorite games. That's what, like Pitch Car.
Melissa hates flicking games, dexterity games, but
like Catacombs.
That's the only downside.
Man, I even like Sorry Sliders, which I mean, one of the what was it last week? I put on the games that top 5 games that
Play for your kids.
you can play with your kids and enjoy as an adult. Sorry Sliders is awesome. I mean, it's basically shuffleboard, but whatever.
Yeah, I like dexterity games. There's another aspect of dexterity games, which is dexterity games that are like Jungle Speed. Do you know where you?
Not sure if I like the speed element games as much.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Or Go Nuts. We played that one recently.
Go Nuts was pretty good.
It's pretty fun, but they're all kind of the same. You see a thing, you have to quickly react and grab something.
Yeah.
Go Splits.
Slapping games, where you play a card and then you have to slap a thing. I'm not into those anymore.
No.
That has really fallen on my list. I do like speed games where you have to analyze something mentally quickly.
I don't like those either because I'm not.
What was it? Mad City?
Like, yeah, Mad City.
Like, Mad City's good. I like that game where it's like flip over a timer. All right, build what you got.
Yeah. Or Geistesblitz is one where you have to actually, engage your brain before you grab the thing.
Mad City isn't really dexterity, but
well,
it's more real time.
You have to, yeah.
There's a Dutch Splits.
Didn't like it.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty fun.
That was good. For I'm not sure if it's dexterity. It is a time-based game, but
I would call it dexterity because you have to play these cards out and everyone's doing it and you have to beat them to it.
Right. Okay.
I think it's more of just real time.
That's one that would be like one of the older ones that I used to like more.
Yeah.
I like I was trying to think. Panic Station is a good one. And then Zalapa and Uluru and Dimension are all really good.
Dimension. Yeah.
So those kind of games. Those La Boca.
Nope.
I like that one. Where you have to Ubongo, you're timed and you have to do a thing. It's not really dexterity. It kind of is because
that's the one where you have different shapes and you have to make a shape.
Yeah, it's kind of dexterity because you have to move things around, but it's really more of a timed thing. I like those.
Yeah. Well, what about, it's interesting because I think Eric's going to be in the same boat with me on this one. Abstract games. How has that changed over time for you?
That's changed a lot.
Like good, bad?
I play less. I play fewer abstract games now.
I think that in the beginning I was like, screw abstract games. Like
I'm kind of the same element too. Yeah,
I had no interest in them at all.
I really think it's because I don't play 2-player games as much.
That could be it. That could be a big portion of it.
I do like a lot of abstract games, a whole lot.
Probably best at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it went downhill, and then I got into designer games, and it went even further downhill. And then we played way cooler games. I was like, why are even abstracts even made?
No, there's some really good ones.
There is.
Right. I would say in this past year, I played more abstract games than I could even put in the 5 or 6 years before it. And I almost liked every one of them.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Like getting all the, what's the nymph? Or what is it called?
The nymph series or whatever. The gifts
series. Like all those are great. Well, not all of them, but I mean,
I haven't played one.
Pretty much
all of them are good. Some of them are really great.
Right.
Yinch is really good.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
Zertz is really good.
We didn't play that one.
I think we did.
With the marbles,
No, we didn't play the marbles.
Yes, we did.
Did we?
We played that Origins.
Is that you have like the different
we played it wrong the first time and then
I remember.
Both ways we played it was so good.
Yeah, we played it, we read the rules again, which is like a page of rules. I don't know how we messed this up.
Yeah.
So we played it wrong and it was still good. We played it right and it was a little better, but it's still good.
Yeah. And like Shobu, man, Shobu is absolutely one of it might be my favorite abstract game.
It's super good.
Yeah. And like I like the Gifts series because like the production quality and stuff, but Shobu is literally like, here's some rocks, and I'm like, what? This instantly turned into a classic, and a piece of rope.
Yeah,
but yeah, so abstracts I will say have definitely become more on my radar than what they were. Like I would not even give 2 thoughts about an abstract game,
which is still weird for me because if I see a new abstract game out, I'm not gonna be like, ooh, abstract game. But once I let myself experience that abstract game, obviously not all of them, but I end up enjoying them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have a lot more time to dedicate to this topic, so I want to ask one more question, and it's more about video games.
Oh.
So, a lot of people I've read online will get into board games, and then their video gaming just drops off the radar or gets really low.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me as well.
You think so?
I have a big collection of mini games that I haven't got a chance to play. Even more recently, I've been acquiring some new games, but I have now dedicated some time to playing those games, BioShock, for one. But still don't even scratch what I already have.
What about you, George? Like early on compared to now?
Early on, I was all about the video games. I wanted my friends to get together and have LAN parties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
With shooter games. That was my favorite thing.
Like Quake?
SWAT 4 was
okay.
the best.
You went that route.
It actually still is. and then like you said, I started playing I did Halo 2, but it's not as good.
So good. I'll go back and play it.
The co-op thing of SWAT with the sort of very slower pace but very serious, like one shot you're dead. That's what I really like.
I didn't like those type of games as much.
It's my favorite. Yeah. It's my favorite thing.
Like Rainbow Six?
Yes, but yeah.
You come around the corner, you die.
Yeah, the Vegas one was the best, but they kind of went downhill from there. But anyway, so then when people stopped making those kinds of games, then I just kind of got out of it and got more into the board games. But now I'm actually, just recently, this past week, a friend sent me a video of a game called Arma 3.
Oh, yeah.
And that looked like exactly the kind of thing I want to be doing.
My little brother was so much into
game.
Arma 3. He has like hundreds of hours logged on Steam.
It looks so realistic.
Yes.
And
he used to play all the Delta Force games and like the Rainbow Sixes and stuff. He was very like the military shooters.
Yeah.
Where it's like more realistic or like counter. I don't know how much he played Counter-Strike, but he played it some with me. And that's the same way. You just walk around, it's like, and that guy's dead, and you just, instead of like, bam, 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 low health. All right, go stand in the corner and regenerate.
That's idiotic. I just don't like that. I mean,
that's
no
true.
Offense to people who do like it, but
Quake 3, Arena.
Yeah, for me, I really like the way that one looked, where you get shot, and then there's a whole team of people trying to keep you alive.
Yeah,
like that's amazing.
Resin, yeah.
Like I don't know, they were saying, "Give me scissors," and get the whatever shot. And, like it was
give
really
me morphine.
Cool. Yeah, and the people that were playing the game, at least in the one that I watched, it wasn't a bunch of 12-year-olds like just running around shooting each other. It was people who made a plan,
man.
And actually like thought about what they were doing, and then they went out and accomplished it, and they were sort of, the whole thing was role playing. It was we're Oscar Mike to whatever, like they're using the lingo.
Yes, they're being cool. Military. You know what?
Yeah.
I will tell you one game that would absolutely be up your alley, and that is Firewall. What's it called?
0 Hour?
Yeah, Firewall 0 Hour. It's a PlayStation VR game where you literally have the aim controller, which is a rifle. And when you play this game, if you get in the right party with people, they are literally like, all right, go to the back door, blah, blah. But the game's like realistic because you're moving around at speeds that you normally would move at. And you move your whole body to look around doors, and
if you get hit one time, you're down, right?
You get hit,
you get a shot in your hand, you're dead.
You get hit a couple of times, yes. It's more like Counter-Strike. So you might take, depending on if you have body armor and stuff like that, you go down. There is one aspect of it that I don't know how much you would like, but when you go down, you're like bleeding out, and then like your team can come over and help you or whatever.
Or get you back up.
But you are absolutely bait at that point. It's like, you're like, all right,
one of those types of games.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is golden. It's fantastic, Eric.
Right.
You totally need to like.
I already have it installed, ready to go.
We did do it this weekend. It's happening.
All right.
After the podcast, we're going to Eric's house.
Yeah, right. So not to derail us or anything from the.
No, that's fine. That's exactly what I'm talking about, like that kind of thing.
I guess for me, video games have kind of stayed the same. I think more or less I just don't have as much time because of kids and family. But if I didn't have kids and family, I'd be playing video games just as much as board games. But I will say like the mobile gaming has really
risen,
subsidized my gaming because, I can't sit down and play an RPG for like 10 hours in one day.
That's what I used to do.
Yes. And it's not that I choose not to anymore. I don't know if you do, but
I have to choose not to.
What would you
life?
Have you
You mean on a computer?
Huh? Oh yeah, on a computer. Yeah.
Well, here's
like
what I'm saying. Do you have
MMORPGs.
Okay.
Do you have the desire to do it anymore, or have you like kind of backed away and be like, man, it's not as fun as?
No, I would say I would still enjoy that,
Yeah.
although I know that I can't put myself into that situation.
Eric doesn't need it's
because
crack.
it takes over.
It's crack. It's crack.
It's life.
Eric's like,
Yeah.
how can I make money?
Yeah.
Eric becomes the richest player in every game.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Video gaming for me is still stayed strong. I definitely buy it in hopes to play stuff, but I don't have as much time to dedicate to it, and it really saddens me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't miss it so much.
that's fair. So it's kind of board gaming has kind of replaced it for
Yeah.
you in a
If
way.
I found the right game, if it's Arma 3 maybe, or maybe this Fireteam one, then I would get into it, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think we are pretty much done with this, so we have enough time to do the last topic. Unless you want to add anything else.
No.
If you're watching this and you want to comment as to what game I should play that is like SWAT 4.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can email us at meeplecore@gmail.com. It'd be interesting. Post down below what has changed for you, especially like the video game, board game. Has it replaced each other, whatever? Or maybe certain things in board gaming that you found yourself really liking at one point and then completely moving away from, or vice versa. It'd be interesting to see, what other people's experiences are and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, we're going to move on to our final topic.